Howdy folks, Krazy Jason here with Kakalaki Movie Madness, doing this Friday's review for TheRoughCuts. And once again, it happens to be New Year's Eve. Last time we did a review, it was Christmas Eve. So Happy New Year's, everybody. I hope that you have a good New Year's Eve. Drink responsibly. Don't drive drunk. Seriously. But that's the only message that Krazy Jason ever gives out in a serious way is do not drive drunk. So, but other than that, hell, have as much fun as you want. But seriously though, I hope that you guys have had a good year. I hope that this new year brings lots of happiness, joy. Hope you guys had a good Christmas as well. And what more can I say? Let's get right into the review. Today I'm doing a review of Z Channel, A Magnificent Obsession. It's a documentary directed by Zan Cassavetes. And, I didn't really pick this for New Year's Eve, but if you were going to read something into it, I would say this documentary will introduce you to a lot of films that you may not have heard of, or jigger your memory about a film that you've been wanting to see. Basically, this film, well, let me show you the case here real quick. There's that. Here's the back and the inside. 2 discs. Very nice edition. It originally aired on IFC, I believe. Yeah. And basically it's a film about Z Channel, which was a very early pay cable service in Los Angeles that started up in 1974. So it was right there when HBO was getting started, around that same time, but it was only offered in Los Angeles. And basically they ran films 24/7, but they didn't run just any films. They ran the greatest films, they ran classics, they ran foreign films, all kinds of genres, and more importantly, they dug up films that had been long forgotten or films that didn't do well at the box office that they felt needed a larger audience. The only thing I can really compare what the Z Channel was to, in my mind, would be Turner Classic Movies. But even after seeing this documentary, Turner Classic Movies doesn't even come close to what this channel was. And I think that Turner Classic Movies is magnificent. I think it's worth the price of basic cable alone. I can't believe that it's not even a premium service. But, Turner Classic Movies is actually a topic for another occasion. But that doesn't even come close, because Turner Classic Movies generally concerns itself with American cinema, whereas this concerned itself with global world cinema. American, European, South American, Asian. And I'm not saying Turner Classic Movies doesn't ever delve into those arenas, but this channel really, really delved into it. And they really celebrated these movies. And in a way, it's kind of like the Criterion Collection. So if Criterion met Turner Classic Movies on cable TV, that's basically what the Z Channel would be. Just the ultimate channel for film lovers. Unfortunately, they did have plans to go national with it, but HBO and the big conglomerates squashed that. Never did go national. Now, the other story running concurrent in this documentary is about the head programmer of the Z Channel, this guy right here, Jerry Harvey. And this is where the documentary sort of gets its full title, A Magnificent Obsession. Now, I don't know. The story of Jerry Harvey is a very sad story. He was obviously mentally unstable his entire life. And his life ends tragically, and so does someone else's. And so, can you like Jerry Harvey, the man? You know, I don't know. He certainly was a driven individual, and he was an incredible programmer. And I think he worked tirelessly 24/7, and he hired people to work with him who also loved films as much as he did, and to track down films. And they would do things like air Michael Cimino's Heaven's Gate in its entirety, like the original 210-minute cut, I believe is what it was. And that movie was a huge flop, and the hurt of that in the industry was still felt at the time that they decided to air it. They would dig up lost films, and this was at a time when VHS was in its infancy. Jerry Harvey came on board in 1980, I believe. So VHS was still in its infancy for the larger, public, and even people who had VCRs or Betamax players. They didn't have access to all of the films that were provided on this channel. Hell, even to this day, if Z Channel were around, it would still be incredibly relevant, because I'm sure they would still be able to track down films that aren't even on VHS, never mind DVD or Blu-ray. But basically, it follows this guy, Jerry Harvey's life, concurrently with the life of the channel. The filmmaker pretty much decides to meld the fate of the channel with Jerry Harvey, and I can sort of see that. But to me, it's kind of like a split story. On the one hand, I'm celebrating what a great channel this was and wishing we had something like this today. On the other hand, I'm engrossed in the story of this madman, pretty much. So for me, it doesn't quite all gel together, but it's still definitely worth your watch. I've seen it 3 times myself, and they interview a lot of directors and actors like James Woods. They interview Robert Altman, Quentin Tarantino, Stuart Cooper, Henry Jaglom, and a lot of these guys, Jerry Harvey would approach them, hey, I'm interested in reviving your film, showing it on the Z Channel, or he would approach the studio and these guys would find out about it. He made friends with a lot of directors. Michael Cimino, I believe, he made really good friends with him. And, like, for instance, he played one of Robert Altman's, I think it was McCabe and Mrs. Miller. It didn't do well at the box office, and nowadays, if you're a real cinema lover, and especially if you love the films of the 70s, you know about McCabe and Mrs. Miller. And I believe that's as a direct result of this reviving that film. If he hadn't revived the film on the Z Channel, I don't really think a lot of us would know a lot about that movie, because it really bombed. He would do that with a lot of films, and he would find treasures, from different countries that we would never know about, and we don't know about because the Z Channel's not around. I'm speaking as if, I was someone who lived in that time and had this channel, and they sent out, they had a big book they would send out every month, the Programmer's Guide. What you're going to see that month, articles, bios on the directors and the actors, and man, what an awesome thing that Z Channel must have been. I mean, to live in that time, it must have just been incredible, like a film festival every day in your home, pretty much. But yeah, tragic ending, but fascinating documentary. I give this one a solid 5 stars as a documentary. If you're a film lover, if you've seen Easy Rider's Raging Bulls, which is actually I have the book behind me. I can't get to it, but it was originally a book, and then they made it into a documentary. Easy Rider's Raging Bulls. It's very similar. That's a film. That's a documentary about the films and the filmmakers of the 70s. It's got kind of a similar vibe to Z Channel. The Z Channel has so many more layers to it as a film. All right, so that's going to do it. be sure to go out, track down Z Channel. If you're a lover of films, lover of cinema, lover of movies of any kind, you will enjoy this documentary. Believe me. And what a way to kick off the New Year's, because this will, put into mind some films you want to track down and see this year that you've never seen before. It sure does with me. So I hope you guys, once again, hope you have a happy New Year's, and we will see you next week.